Hello, hobby joggers. Today we are talking about data and what metrics to focus on. And if you watched the channel recently, you might have seen I did a 30-mile long run the other day. And if you've watched the channel, you also know I have a big focus on mileage and increasing mileage. So that's what we're gonna dive in today. And if you are interested in learning more about training topics and discussing training topics with other hobby joggers out there and other people who are looking to get more from their running, make sure to check out the Supwell app. It is $5 per month. We now have nearly 2,000 people in there. It's a vibrant, booming, active community, lots of supportive people. So if you are looking to take your training to the next level, get in there. We also have a buy, sell, and trade marketplace. You get access to all this for $5 per month. It's open to anybody. The training forum's open to anybody. The marketplace, mostly US right now, but it's still open to anybody. You can still go in there and look at what's for sale. And also, I just launched the nutrition space where I'll be posting more of my nutrition. Also, anybody can ask questions about the nutrition side as well. And I'll be sharing some of the things that I do to maintain high volume, 110, 120 miles per week with fueling. Oh, and also, look at this. Bada boom, bada bang, little sneak peek of today's shoe, Puma Deviate Nitro 3. All right, let's get into today's video. All right, man, today we're talking about everyone's favorite topic, data. We are inundated. We are inundated with data. You can't spell inundated without date. You can spell it without data, but not without the first three letters. So in the running world, in the world in general, if you are working a job, no matter what job it is, there is going to be some focus on data and numbers and metrics. And you know what? In my career, I actually started off my career as an analyst, a marketing analyst. I worked a lot with data. And one of the things that I would do is simplify reports, simplify all of the various numbers we would have in our analytics tools and our data softwares, and just give people, hey, these are the one or two things that really matter. And it really makes a big difference when you can cut through all that noise. And that's one of the issues with the data culture that we have, not just in running, but with the world in general right now, is that we can get lost in this sea of, I thought had one more step. I didn't. We can get lost in this sea of information. And what I like to do is distill my running down to 3 core metrics that I focus on. And I do this in nearly every area of my life. If you look at the channel, the metrics that I focus on here are things that I can control. Did I post 7 out of 7 days of the week? I did? All right, that's a success. Are the numbers going up? Yes, that's a success. And it's the same thing with running. Now, our watches and Strava give us so much information, man. If I look at this, I'm gonna fire up my watch right here. I'll pick a run from yesterday. Bada boom, bada bang. Let me pick a random run yesterday. It gives me running performance low, 92%, training low, 67%, aerobic TE, 2.3, anaerobic TE, 0.0. I don't even know what this stuff means. And I don't need to know what this stuff means. So here's the thing. I ran a 2:39 marathon. The year before that, I ran a 1:19 half marathon. I was able to extend my half marathon time to my marathon time by just focusing on these 3 things. And year after year, I've been able to progress by just focusing on these 3 things. Now, I want to preface this whole conversation by saying, just like with the shoes, some of us enjoy collecting shoes. Some of us enjoy the culture of running shoes. There's some people on the Supwell app who have 2 pairs of Alpha Flies or 2 or 3 pairs of Super Blasts because they enjoy the different colorways. It's like with Jordans, right? Someone has 7 pairs of Jordan 3s because they're a collector of Jordan 3s. That's okay. The shoes and the culture of shoes is what's fun to some of us, just like the data and nerding out about heart rate and nerding out about the anaerobic TE and aerobic TE is fun for other people. So I really don't want to minimize some people's enjoyment of the data. And if you do get a lot of value and excitement from running, from using heart rate tracking and from using all of the advanced metrics, that's completely fine. The purpose of this discussion today is really to show that you don't need to be overwhelmed. So I'm not arguing against using these metrics if you enjoy them. My perspective here today is just, hey, if someone is out there overwhelmed, drowning in a sea of data, which I know I can be when I'm looking at any of my business reports, there's so much to look at. I try to just pick out 2 or 3 things. So again, not minimizing the data-driven approach, not minimizing if you get enjoyment out of it. It's just, hey, what are the 2 or 3 things to focus on? So let's kick it off with number 1 here. Mileage. If you guys have watched this channel, you've heard me talk about mileage. Mileage is the number 1 most important thing for us to focus on because it is 100% within our control. It is the only running metric within our control. We cannot control our heart rate. We cannot control our anaerobic TE. I don't even know what the heck that is. We cannot control our running performance. And you know why my watch said my running performance was low? It said my running performance was low because it tracked my heart rate as 170 or something on a relaxed run because it was tracking my cadence. Because look, sometimes I forget to strap in this watch, so then it tracks the flapping of the watch band. That's what it thinks my heart rate is. So then it tracks my heart rate as 170 on a relaxed run. So mileage, though, we can't. Well, I said there's only one metric we can control. There's 2. Mileage is the first metric we can control. The second is number of days, and I'll expound on all these. I'll go into detail. The second is, I'm still trying to get this in. Number of days that we run per week or sessions per week. Some running coaches refer to this as frequency. Some refer to this as density. But number of days we're running per week, and for most of us, it's going to be measured in days. If you're currently running 1 day per week, bump that up to 2. If you're currently running 2, bump that up to 3. And then if you're trying to crack sub 250, sub 245, sub 240 in the marathon and get really advanced with it, you might be bumping up past 6 or 7 sessions per week. We can call this sessions for the sake of this discussion. And me personally, I run probably 10 to 12 sessions per week on, I actually don't even know. I'll check my Strava. So sessions is the second. How many times per week are we running? And mileage and sessions, those are the only 2 things we can control. How long are we going to go run? And how many times per week are we going to run? We can't control our heart rate because the heart rate is influenced by things that are literally out of our control. Like today, my fingers are chilly because it's 45 degrees. If it were July and it were 95 degrees, man, my heart rate would be 155. But guess what I did this summer? I was out here grinding in the 95, 97 degree heat, putting up 10 milers Saturday afternoon. You get a lot of great benefits from running in the heat. I don't give a gosh dang what my heart rate is when I'm doing that. I'm not trying to keep it within a certain range. I'm just trying to grind out the miles because I know completing a session of work with that additional stimulus and intensity, getting that mileage in, is going to be super beneficial. And we come out here in the fall, the heart rate drops if that's what you care about, but the effort drops most importantly, and it's easier to run those paces. So that is the third metric, the only other metric that is important, and that is pace. So mileage, sessions, and pace, the pace of the runs each week. And for me, I'm not going to come out here and have every single run be a focus on pace, but some of the runs be relaxed runs, some of the runs we run at a higher intensity. And you know why these are the only 3 metrics that matter? If we're training for a race, are we going to get to the end of the race and say, man, my watch says my anaerobic TE was 5.7? No. We're going to say, oh man, I have a half marathon. That's 13.1 miles. That's the mileage. And my target pace was 7:30 and I ran at a 7:27 pace. Look at that. So it should be the same thing during training. We focus on the mileage, focus on the sessions, focus on the pace. Those are the 3. Let me break it down for you. I'm going to get at this run in the Puma Deviate Nitro 3. We can talk about the importance of mileage and why that is the first thing that I focus on. Amen. No matter where you're at in your running journey, these are the things. It's really quite simple. Everything else is just gravy. Everything else is just additional on top of that. Whew, I should grab some gloves.
So if you've watched this channel before, you've heard me talk about the importance of mileage. Now, why is mileage so important? Let me break down the benefits quickly here again. So mileage isn't the end all be all, but it does inform a lot of what we can do in our training. The higher our weekly mileage is, the longer our long runs will be, the quicker we'll be recovering, and the stronger we'll become. So if we're only running 10 miles per week, and that's what our body's accustomed to, we'll adapt to that 10 miles per week. Once we bump it up to 15, there'll be an adjustment period, but we'll get stronger. It's like if you're benching 100 pounds in the gym and you're just doing that 100 pounds, 3 sets of 10 for 3 years, you're not gonna get much stronger. But you add additional weight, or in this case, you add additional volume, your body adapts. Your running specific muscles get stronger, and we're gonna get a lot aerobically fitter. So we're gonna start burning fat instead of carbs. Our effort will go down on runs. The heart will get stronger. We'll be able to deliver more oxygen-rich blood throughout the body. And the mitochondria in our muscles will get more efficient at converting fat into energy. And as we increase mileage, all of those benefits will increase. And the other benefit of mileage too is our running specific skills will increase. Our form, our running economy. So running economy is how efficient we are at a certain pace. By running more, we'll get more efficient. Our heart rate will go down. It'll take lower effort to run an 8-minute pace if we're running that 8-minute pace 20 miles per week versus if we're running that 8-minute pace 10 miles per week. I realized I forgot to bring the trash out. I told Charlie I would. Ah, gosh. I'm gonna get more hill mileage here. All right, happy spouse, happy house. Gosh dang. All right, mileage, one of the few things we can control, has all these great physiological benefits, and it will allow us to run longer and harder workouts. Again, think about the bench pressing example. If we're only doing 3 sets of 10 consistently, we're not going to be able to progress. But if we add in either more volume to those, so 4 sets of 10, which is not necessarily something you'd do lifting if you're trying to get jacked, but if you add more volume, you have the capacity to do more work. So all of running, all of training is preparing our body to do more work over time. And so progressing our mileage and increasing our mileage will allow our bodies to do that. So the second metric to focus on, sessions per week. And it's beautiful because mileage and sessions are correlated. If you increase your number of sessions and keep your run length the same, so if you're doing 3-4 mile runs a week and you increase to 4 mile runs a week, bang, you increase your mileage. So sessions and mileage go hand in hand. By increasing the sessions, we increase the mileage. Now that's not always the way we need to do it. We can add, and I would actually say it's probably not the first way I would do it. The easiest way to get more mileage is just to add 1 mile to every run of the week. You don't have to change your schedule. If you're already running at a certain time of day and you have your routine, you can just add a mile here, add a mile there, add 10 to 20 minutes gradually to your runs. But once you've maxed that out, or if you simply want to run more days per week because you love running like I do, you can add some more runs. So sessions, increasing sessions is going to have similar benefits to increasing length, but there are slightly different benefits. So what I've found is increasing sessions, that helps a lot with recovery. If we're running 3 days per week, our body's going to be adapted to that and use up all the time in between. And mentally, we feel that we need all the time in between to recover. If we're not running on back-to-back days, mentally, it feels dangerous to run on back-to-back days. But if we gradually add them in, we're gonna get stronger, and also mentally, it's gonna feel more doable to handle the fatigue of running on back-to-back days. And if you're an endurance athlete looking to get better at the half marathon or marathon, mastering fatigue and battling back fatigue, that's one of the main things to work on. And sessions, increasing your number of sessions per week, that's gonna help that. Now, the number one thing to monitor when increasing either mileage or sessions is how we feel. We don't wanna bump up too quickly because that poses an injury risk. What I like doing, taking a step up. So say we're at 3 4-mile runs per week, taking a step up, 4 4-mile runs per week, holding that for 3 weeks, taking a step back down to where we were before for 1 week, and then bumping up again. So it goes build, 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 recover, build, 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 recover. When I'm saying build, 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 those are 3 up weeks all around the same volume, and then we take a down week to let the body adapt. And when you're doing this for the first time, I would be fairly conservative, increasing volume and increasing sessions. You can always add more, you can always do more, but it's better to not have to pull back because we're injured. And one of the huge benefits of increasing sessions as well is we get a burst of growth hormone, which helps with recovery. Also, we get the additional benefits of running more days per week, running more times per week, getting out here, enjoying nature, feeling good. And here's the thing I've found about increasing mileage in sessions. Often the injury risk comes, well, there's always an injury risk, but the increased injury risk is going to come with speed. So if we're not adding in faster runs per week, injury risk is a lot lower. The only times that I've been injured in my running career of 4 or 5, almost 5 years now, is by doing speed work. It's never through building high volume. So that's something to keep in mind. Of course, that's personal anecdotes, but a lot of coaches share a similar philosophy. That's why the guidance is always increase one thing at a time. Either increase the volume or increase the speed. Don't try to add more mileage and faster pace runs at the same time. So my philosophy is build a high base first, a lot of relaxed miles, and then the speed on top of that. And the reason why, it's this simple. You gotta go 20 slow before you can go 20 fast. That's it. That's it. It's simple. So build up the strength through mileage, through additional sessions per week, build up that running specific strength, and then we can focus on speed. And that brings me to the third one here, pace. The third metric we need to focus on, and the least important when we're starting out. Now, pace is the coolest one, of course, and this is the one where, and when I was starting out, I was just focused on pace. I was just running the same mileage every week and seeing, can I get faster? Can I have 5K PR every week? And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. If we go back to the lifting analogy, if we're doing 3 sets of 10 at a 100-pound weight, if we start bumping that up every week, 110, 115, 120, we're gonna get stronger. And that's the same thing with running the same volume each week, but doing it faster. So there's nothing wrong with consistently trying a 5K PR in training, as long as we're recovering. But what we should focus on when I say pace, first we build the mileage, we add in more running days per week, and a good target, if you're looking to become the best endurance athlete possible, is 5 to 6 days per week. Now, that's not everyone's goal, and it doesn't need to be your goal, but if you want a marathon PR, half marathon PR, building to 5, 6, 7 sessions per week is going to be key. Hold on. On my 30-mile long run, I threw my glove under this tree because it was soaking wet from my bottle leaking, and I forgot to grab it. Oh, look at that. There you go. Kind of disgusting, but we're not gonna litter. Throw it in the pocket. Let's keep it pushing. Yeah, when I say pace, 1 faster run per week, that's all we need when we're building in the beginning. We get our mileage up, we get the number of sessions up, and then we add in 1 challenging run per week. And there's so many different pace ranges and targets. And if we're doing a structured training plan, this is when you would bring in a specific pace that's maybe informed by a heart rate range. But for most of us, we'll get the same benefit by just saying, hey, I'm gonna go out and run 30 minutes hard on Thursday. That's gonna be my hard run day. And you'll get the same benefits as doing a threshold run for a lot of us. Now, some people, and again, this is where it comes down to preference, and I'm not saying this system is empirically better for everybody, but if you want to keep it very simple, this is a system that will get you results as a hobby jogger. We don't need to worry about our lactate levels. We don't need to worry about our heart rate. If we're currently running 3-4 days a week, we bump up to 5, 6, add in 1 hard run, monitor our recovery, we're gonna get faster, baby. And of course, that 2-hour weekend long run, we're gonna get faster. Now, not every run needs to be about pace. I mean, look at my run today. I'm clipping off 8:30s. My marathon base is 6 flat. I'm feeling beat up because I ran 30 miles on Sunday. I want to let my body recover, so I'm taking it extremely relaxed today. So when thinking about pace, it's not every single run. It's 1 or 2 runs per week, and especially if we're targeting a specific goal time in the marathon, half marathon, 10K, 5K, I always train by pace, not heart rate, not anything else, because again, I'm a strong believer in the Hansen system and what they said, man, no one's gonna cross that finish line and say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad my heart rate is at 153. Or maybe you will, but most people, when they're running a marathon with a time-based goal, they're concerned about their time, which is pace, not heart rate. But heart rate for some people can be a guide, a useful tool. And here's the thing, a tool to inform pace, not the primary metric that we want to improve. There is no virtue in improving heart rate or cadence or anaerobic TE in isolation. It's the summation of all those things put together that's going to improve our pace and our ability to run more miles. But if we just focus on the top line metrics in the first place, adding more miles per week, adding more runs per week, increasing our pace on a few target runs, we're going to get faster. Think about it from a business standpoint. What are those actions that make us money? Let's just do those things. Nothing else matters. In this case, making money, if we're training, is getting faster for a race. So let's keep cashing those aerobic checks. Keep running more miles. Let's write ourselves a consistency line of credit. Bump up to 5 days per week. And let's mash the gas on one of those runs or two of those runs. And that really is a distillation of every single coach's training plan out there. Just said in a simple way. You already know, man. One more thing on the data before you get back. If you are gonna focus on heart rate, but make sure to have clean numbers. There's this expression in data analysis, garbage in, garbage out. If we have bad tracking, the data isn't gonna say anything. So that's one of the main reasons I don't focus on heart rate, because, well, one, this entire video and what I said last week, it's not the most important, but also it's another hassle to try to get clean numbers. My watch doesn't track it appropriately, and then you have to get the chest strap, you have to buy more stuff to get the clean numbers. But if you are going to focus on heart rate, please just get a chest strap or a reliable reading from the watch. Have the watch cinched down tight. It's not going to work in the cold sometimes, but don't let bad data throw you off. That's the biggest thing here. Because right now, it's telling me my heart rate is 170. For my heart rate to be up at 170, I would have to be at probably a sub 6 minute pace. I'm going at it's also saying my pace is 6:20 now. This is the thing, these watches are just all off sometimes. And I'm probably going at an 8:20 pace. So the watch does not have the heart rate accurate right now. So that's the thing, if you were gonna use this, don't let bad data stress you out. At least get some clean data. But here's the thing, for the most part, mileage is not gonna lie. It's super easy to track. You don't even need a watch. You can use your phone for that. GPS is very accurate. And once you have a few loops around your house, you'll know it. If you don't have you could even use your car, right? Or a map. It's the easiest thing to track, mileage. Same thing with sessions per week. As long as you can count your sessions per week. As long as you can count to 10. And then pace, same thing. A phone can track that. I didn't even have a running watch for my first pretty much year of running. So to get started, man, if you have a smartphone, which if you're watching this video on YouTube, you likely do, or if you have a computer, you can get started with this super easy.
All right, here we go. Another morning run in the books. We do not have a blue sky, sunny day today. I told you, man, this is what it's going to be like all winter in the Carolinas.
It's going to be gray and it's going to be rainy, but we have to enjoy those Carolina sunshine days when we can. I think we had 3 in a row, which was awesome. Now look at this. Trees are getting threadbare. I can still see some pockets of red over there, but after Thanksgiving, man, give it 2 weeks. It's going to be gray and brown city. It's going to be out here looking like a pair of old New Balance 990s. All right, look at this. 6 miles and 16 hundredths. 8 minute and 29 second pace. And that is slow for me, but on these recovery days, man, I just let whatever pace come. I let whatever pace comes. Whatever pace is going to feel good that day, that's what we do. So today we're at an 8:30 pace, 6 miles. That's 20 miles on the week so far. Probably take this afternoon session off, let the body recover, and then get some good mileage in tomorrow and Thursday. But quick word on the shoes here. So this is the Puma Deviate Nitro 3. The reason I pulled for this morning is because of the 10 millimeter drop. So it's a difference in 10 millimeters from the back to the front. Last week I ran in the New Balance Rebel V4. I did a workout in that, and then I did my 30-mile long run in the Adidas Evo SL. Both of those have 6 millimeter drop shoes, and both of those feel very flat, very low drop, which puts a lot of stress on the calves, especially if you're a heel striker. So yesterday, for my afternoon run, I ran the Mag Max, which is 10 millimeter drop. And then this morning, this is one of my favorite daily trainers of the year, ran in this guy, 10 millimeter drop. Top foam is awesome here. Bouncy race foam. You have the carbon fiber plate, which adds some more stability to the shoe and some more speed assistance for those days where I'm feeling beat up. So this is the importance of having a shoe rotation, especially as we build mileage. I wanted my calves to take some of the pressure off my calves, so I went with a 10 millimeter drop shoe versus a lower drop shoe. So you don't need to have 10 shoes unless you want to, but having 2 to 3 different types of shoes. For example, if you have the Rebel, getting a 10 millimeter drop shoe like this, or the Nike Invincible, or something else with a higher drop, Brooks Adrenaline that has a 12 millimeter drop, getting something else to rotate with a lower drop will be good. Also, Rebel and SL, Evo SL, those have softer foams. This, with the plate, with this firmer bottom foam, it's going to feel more rigid, more structured, give me a different sensation, work different muscles, take the pressure off of different muscles, put the pressure on different muscles. The general philosophy, by the way, is higher drop shoes work higher up the chain, so hips and higher up the legs. Lower drop shoes like a Rebel or Evo SL, those will work the Achilles and calf more. So get a good mix of stuff. As we're building up to 4, 5, 6 days per week, it's going to be important to rotate shoes as well as just monitoring our body. And if you do buy any shoes, make sure to use my Running Warehouse link to support the channel. All right, let's do this breakdown. By the way, people keep asking me for best winter daily trainers and running shoes. This would be awesome because of the Puma grip. That's the other thing. This is really good in the wet weather. The shoe I was wearing yesterday, the Saucony Tempest, that would also be good, not because of the grip. That would not be good in the ice, in the snow, but for dry, outside, cold weather running, the Tempest would be great because it has the PIBA in there, the race foam, and those race foams are more resistant to cold temperatures. So stay tuned on the channel for that wet weather shoe roundup. I'm also going to be testing a few more weatherproof shoes and wet weather grip shoes, especially as I'm preparing for this ultra marathon, taking it to the trails. So let's close it out here. Mileage, session, and pace. These are the 3 metrics I focus on. Now, a lot of the time I can feel, and I think people have this sense that I'm anti-science or anti-data. I'm not anti-data at all. I am pro simplicity. I'm pro results. I'm pro making it easy. And if we just focus on those 3 things, it's going to be a lot easier. Now, the downside of focusing on those 3 things, or where the gap, the vacuum comes in sometimes, which is why it's so great that we have all these resources available to us today, is that people say, okay, you're giving me, let's focus mileage, sessions, pace. How do I structure some training? So stay tuned. I am going to be working on training, but in terms of where to start, if you are looking to train, I highly recommend the Hanson's system. It's very simple. Hanson's Marathon Plan or Hanson's half marathon plan. And if you want to get more into the theory and the advanced structure, check out the book Run Faster by Brad Hudson and Jack Daniels' running formula. Those are my 3 top recommendations for structuring training. But key principles here: increasing the mileage, that's going to make it stronger. That's going to make it easier to hold paces for longer. That's going to be the foundation of everything that we work on. Second layer here is increasing the number of sessions per week. That's also going to make us stronger. That's going to increase our resistance to fatigue. That's going to help us recover quicker as we're running more sessions per week. And it's counterintuitive because we think more stress on the body is going to be harder to recover. But if we're gradually building up to that, taking those steps up and then 1 step down, so 3 weeks where we're at a higher mileage level, 1 step down, 3 weeks where we're adding in another day of running per week, and then 1 step down, we will recover and our body will get stronger. And then third is pace. So not focusing on pace for every single run of the week, but just for 1 or 2 runs, especially if we're training for a race. And the entire point of this discussion and analysis is to improve our race times, right? And that's our goal of training, to get faster at a certain race. So if we're focusing on a half marathon or a marathon, we know we need to run 13.1 miles at a specific pace range. So that's what we practice in training. The reason why cadence and heart rate are looked at is because they're typically associated. If you have a higher cadence, it's typically associated with a faster pace. And the whole reason that the 180 steps per minute came into existence is because Jack Daniels and his wife were at the Olympics. I believe it was the 1980 Olympics, and they counted how many steps per minute these elite runners were taking, and they were all taking 180 steps per minute. Are we elite runners, most of us watching this channel? No, absolutely not. So why should we force ourselves to do things the exact same way that the elites do? That's what never made sense to me. My cadence is not 180, and the reason why some people suggest lower cadence could be bad is maybe that means you're running a certain way, you're posing an injury risk. But hey, no one's walking at a 180 cadence, right? So the slower we go, in most cases, the slower our cadence is. And what a lot of research has found actually is the best way to run for most of us is going to be with our natural running form. And there's so much debate on this, and I know there's going to be a discussion around this, but that is my general philosophy. I run with my natural running form. I focus on getting my mileage up, staying healthy, not pushing it, erring on the side of being conservative. And that's what's allowed me to year over year increase my performance. It's this gradual build, and we can buy a $1,000 watch, we can buy a subscription to any data service, but it's so simple, and that's why I love running. Man, all you need to run is 1 pair of shoes. Get out here, put the miles in, be consistent with it, gradually increase the intensity and the pace, and we will get faster. So if you like the data, we can nerd out. Let's check it. My running performance was fair. My training load was low. So all these things can be helpful, again, to monitor. But if we can learn to monitor ourselves and just focus on those key 3 things, we will get better over time. Stay tuned for more training videos. Let me know what you want to see when it comes to training videos. And let me know also what training plans you want to see, because people are requesting training plans now. And I told you I'm working on it. But let me know what training plan you want. You, who's watching this, who's interested. What are you training for? Are you training for a 5K? Are you training for a 10K? Are you training for a half marathon? Are you training for a marathon? What's your time goal? Let me know in the comments. I like to get a sense of where people are at and what's going to be the most helpful. All right, that is all I have for you today. Make sure to leave any questions in the comments below. Let me know what other training stuff you want to see. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. One more thing, I actually just saw 2 comments come in on yesterday's video. Higher cadence, why is it important? Well, if you're running faster, you will naturally have a higher cadence. Some people run faster by increasing their stride length. That's me. Other people run faster by picking up their cadence, but for the most part, just think about running slow or walking versus running faster. We're going to be taking more steps per minute. That's why the higher cadence is better. However, your cadence will naturally increase if we're doing those faster runs per week. You can also add in what people call strides. But what I've found is that we don't need to completely rebuild our mechanics unless we're getting injured. We don't need to completely rebuild our mechanics from the ground up.
And the second thing was someone posted on the Supple app about Strava fitness scores. Why is my Strava fitness score going down if I'm running more with a lower effort and lower heart rate? Because the Strava fitness score, that takes this, it adds up all of your relative efforts. So if I'm running 10 runs per week at a 100 relative effort, my fitness score would be, let's say, 1,000. These are not the right numbers, but directionally. If I'm running 8 runs per week with a relative effort of 100 on each of those, my fitness score would be 80. Now, if I'm running those 10 runs per week at a relative effort of 50, my fitness score goes down to 500. How is relative effort calculated? By heart rate. So when we get fitter, our heart rate goes down at the same pace, but Strava is saying our fitness score goes down because our effort is lower. So that's why I don't focus on any of these crazy metrics, man. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any gosh dang sense to me. Don't let these metrics throw you off. I could make this a 3-hour long video, man.